challenge is called NBA Full 48 Minutes Average. An NBA game runs 48 minutes, 4 12-minute quarters. Players do not typically play the full game. Subbing in and out is necessary. Your job is to extrapolate a player's points per game if they had played the full 48 minutes. Write a function that takes two arguments, points per game and minutes per game, and returns a straight extrapolation of points per game per 48 minutes, rounded to the nearest tenth. Return 0 if 0. And then some examples below. Notice 12 points per game in 20 minutes per game, right? That's a little under half, right? So if you doubled 12, you get 24. And since I said it was a little under half, it'd be a little bit higher. So that kind of makes sense, right? 28.8. 10 points in 10 minutes, you multiply the 10 minutes by 4.8 to get 48 minutes. And that's how, again, 10 times 4.8 goes out to 48. So hopefully these examples make sense. Zeros, just return 0. And then the note's kind of weird. All inputs will either be an integer or a float, but we know they're double floating point. So not sure what they were doing there, but we're left with this very hearty motivational statement to follow your dreams. Definitely do that too. So they defaulted with this positive infinity value. Clearly that's not the answer. So let's get rid of that. Pause the video, have a go at this one and come on back. So essentially what we're trying to do here is we can kind of set it up like a ratio. You can think of the points per game over minutes per game, which is going to be less than the full game because players get subbed in and out. And we can make a ratio, right, and compare that to x, we'll say a variable name, whatever the points per game would be for 48 minutes, playing every second of the game, over that 48 minutes, right? And then so we have a sort of ratio here where we're going to scale it up. And then if you solve for this equation, you can kind of figure out how to solve this problem. So clearly to solve this equation for x, the x is the value we want, we're going to multiply both sides by 48, right? And that will cancel out this 48. You'll get x equals points per game times 48 over minutes per game, right? So I think we're good to return that. I would remind you of the instructions to round to the nearest tenth. That will be important. So in typical fashion, I'm going to create a little private static read only. I like to think of as a constant. And I'll set it up as a double, and we'll call it full game time because I don't like these magic number 48s in there. And we'll say that equals 48.0 floating point minutes. And that's pretty clear. In this case, you wouldn't think 48 seconds for a basketball game, but in another context, it may not be clear. So a comment like this could be helpful. Then, writing our equation, we'll take the PPG that they give us, we'll multiply it by the full game time, and we'll divide that by the MPG they gave us, the minutes per game. So this is going to produce some double quantity, right? We're doing a bunch of multiplication and division with doubles. It's going to give us a double result. Let's go ahead and round that to 1 decimal place. And you should remember this. We've used this before, where you specify a floating point quantity, and then the second parameter is how many decimal places you want it rounded to. In our case, a tenth is just 1 decimal place, so I entered 1 there. We have one other catch. Let's first bring in the using system namespace so we can access this math class, right? That's not something we made. And then we had that weird situation with 0, right? So a really bad thing to do in writing software and math in general is trying to divide by 0. So if someone passed in 0 for the minutes per game, you're going to see this thing's going to blow up. You're going to get some kind of divide by 0 error. So let's prevent that. We can try something like this. We'll use a ternary operator. Remember that. We'll say MPG equals to 0, then return 0. I can even write it out as a double. Else, right, the colon gives the second case. If it's not equal to 0, then do our calculation. And so I think that will cover us. I'll go ahead and test. See what we get. Looks good. I'm going to get rid of the notes here. I think should probably got that. Let's do the larger attempt. And good, we hit all the tests. So we'll go ahead and send this off. If you didn't make this variable here, which probably we won't see when we submit, you can go for your straight up one line Wally kind of thing and just put this all in one line. So I'll go ahead and fire this one off. And we got, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what we did. Pretty similar as expected. So yeah, there you have it. Not bad. Hopefully you got that one. If not, no worries. You're getting better every time you try. So hit me up with questions, comments. Otherwise, I'll move on to the next challenge. Thanks for watching.